When did the worst day of your life secretly become the best thing that ever happened to you? I'm Emma, and the biggest blessing of my life started with the day I thought I'd destroyed everything I'd worked for. I was 26, working as a pediatric nurse at a hospital outside Seattle. I absolutely loved my job. Kids could be exhausting, but somehow they always reminded me why I chose nursing in the first place. Then one Friday, I made a mistake. Nothing life-threatening. No one got hurt, but I accidentally sent the wrong paperwork home with a patient's family. It contained another child's private information, and even though we caught it within minutes, it was considered a serious privacy violation. My supervisor looked at me and quietly said, "Go home, Emma. HR will meet with you Monday." Those words echoed in my head the entire weekend. 3 years of 12-hour shifts, countless holidays spent working, all of it felt like it was about to disappear because of one careless mistake. Saturday morning, I couldn't sit in my apartment another second. I grabbed my coffee and drove toward the Olympic Mountains, hoping a long drive would clear my head. About an hour later, traffic suddenly stopped. People were getting out of their cars, pointing toward a small SUV that had slid off the road into a shallow ravine. I didn't even think. I parked my car and ran. Inside was an older couple. The driver had a deep cut on his forehead, and his wife kept saying, "Please don't close your eyes." "I'm a nurse," I told them. The man smiled weakly. "Good, because my wife thinks I'm being dramatic." Even then, he was trying to make her laugh. I stayed with them until the paramedics arrived. I checked his breathing, kept pressure on the wound, and mostly just talked to them. We joked about Seattle traffic. He complained that his wife still gave him driving directions after 40 years of marriage. She rolled her eyes and said, "Because you never listen." For a few minutes, they forgot they were scared. When the ambulance doors closed, his wife hugged me so tightly she started crying. She whispered, "You treated us like family. Thank you." I honestly thought I'd never see them again. Monday morning, I walked into the hospital expecting to lose my job. Instead, HR asked me to wait. A few minutes later, my supervisor walked in holding a handwritten letter. "Do you know who you helped Saturday?" I shook my head. Apparently, the man from the accident had recently retired after serving nearly 25 years on the hospital's board of directors. He'd written that while many nurses knew medicine, very few remembered that kindness was part of the job too. His final sentence stopped everyone in the room. "A nurse who runs towards strangers on her day off deserves another chance." Nobody spoke for a second. Then my supervisor smiled. "We're keeping you." I almost cried right there in her office. A few weeks later, the couple invited me over for dinner because they wanted to thank me properly. I almost said no. I'm so glad I didn't. Their youngest son had driven in from Portland to check on them after the accident. His name was Ethan. We spent the evening talking on the back porch until everyone else had gone inside. One dinner turned into coffee. Coffee turned into weekend hike. A year later, he proposed on the same mountain road where we'd first met. Last summer, we got married. At the reception, his dad raised a glass and smiled. If Emma hadn't made one mistake at work, none of us would have found her. Everyone laughed. I cried. Sometimes I still think about that Friday. At the time, it felt like the end of my career. Instead, it led me to the family I never knew I was missing. Life has a funny way of hiding its greatest gifts inside the moments that feel like complete disasters. Looking back now, I don't remember the mistake. I remember the road that changed my life.